Genie grind and watch him get rich, huh? Remember when I said I hit a lick, huh? I don't really wanna fuck the bitch, what? Willie went and made another hit, okay, like Prada on my motherfucking kid, huh? Louis on my motherfucking hip, huh? Curry how I dunk, no switch, hey, fucking gonna fuck that bitch, hey, if you ain't gon' fuck with me, you a dumb fuck, put up a hit but feel like one punch, look at my bank and I'm getting dumb rich, and I'm gonna count it up till 100,
Hello world, I'm What If Studia. I am so sorry for my long break. 2 days, I believe. I'm so sorry. And for those who are returning here, thank you for, keeping up with the series. I'm sorry for all of this. But I have come up with a quite entertaining evening for all of you. Please watch to the end. I hope that you all have a great time. So, Deku. On this train ride, overlooking the whole city in its pure perfection, every single arc, every single plane of glass angled in the way that the constructors, they always saw fit, not the people. Deku almost liked it here. It was free. It was hope. And then he almost forgot. His parents, everybody. He had forgotten to see his parents. He jumps out of the window carrying Momo with him so that nobody else gets hurt. As then he walks down to the city life among the suburbanation, walking among their she has a conversation with him, talking about how exactly she had revived him. It was quite simple. It was purely just amped up those things that they used to, shock people back to life. She had just created those out from the scrap and rubble from the things and just jumped onto them. Then she also mentions that she's sorry for how she acted before. He really is quite like, hot to all girls. Sorry to be so brash, but you are not going to have the best time in college in My Hero if you plan on going and looking like that. He says, oh, and everybody else will notice me being the underground. You're right. She's like, not exactly, but, I'm getting to him. As he starts to walk down the suburb and stops right in the middle of the track, like she bumps into his back. She says, What is it? As he says, we're here. As he looks up to the cul-de-sac and the radar dish on the top that's made out of tinfoil. So nothing has changed, huh? And she says, what is it? As he says, this is my parents' house. It's been a while. And she says, well, go in. As he says, I was so nervous. As he knocks on the front door, a lady whose voice is far gone from his memory, but something feels homely about it, while at the same time worn, used. As she says, yes, I'm here. I said that I'd get you the money tomorrow, right? I'm sorry, but I can't get it today. As then she says, oh, it's a visitor. As then she's like, oh shit, it's a visitor. What do you want? I'm sorry for being so rude. What are you here for? As Deku can barely get himself to say a word, his left eye just starts crying. Tears start to streak down to his neck as he wipes it off swiftly so that it doesn't go into the circuits. He looks up and says, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm Deku. It's been so long. So much has happened. I know it looked different, but his mother just looks up to him in bewilderment. As then he hears, "Honey, what are you doing?" As he says, "My father's alive." "Oh, that's right, your father. No, but you're here." As then she starts bawling her eyes out and jumps at Deku, just like wrapping her arms around him, and brings him inside, crying her eyes out, just saying, Come, sit. We're just about to have dinner." As then his father comes out from the side, saying, "Who's this guy?" As he like swiftly takes out a knife like from his hand, and starts like breathing fire in his mouth, getting ready. As he's like, no. As his mother sits up, saying, "No, honey, it's Deku." As he says, "That's my son?" And she says, Yes. He's back after all these years." "What the fuck happened to you, son? Hell, oh, what the fuck?" As then he slaps him on the back as he's like, "Yeah, I've been in the underground. It's been quite the hardship down there." As they're like, "Well, no one's exempt from hardships anywhere, son. Come. We must eat." As then they have just a nice dinner. No sidetracking conversations, just telling them of his times down underneath and all the people that he had to fight, all the different times and what he sought after, until he gets to death. His death. Yeah, they came for him. As things get quiet, as they're like, "You had died?" As he says, "Well, it was kind of my fault, but I had actually sought after it for so long. I had forgotten many that were behind me." As then Momo's like sitting outside and has enough of this. She's like, "You weren't gonna include me, you idiot!" As they're like, "Oh, and who's this?" As he says, "Just a girl that I met." As then she wraps her arms around him and she says, "His girlfriend." And he's like, No, don't do this." As they're like, "Oh, that's just lovely." He's like, "God frickin' damn it. And please, don't do this, Dad." As he's like, my son. Look at you. As both of his parents are smiling ear to ear. As the night wanes, he spends the night over at his house and he gets into his old bed. It's so small now. It's so empty. His room decorated with fan fiction's heroes, All Might on the wall. He couldn't help himself but almost punch it when he first saw it. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't remember. Until he did. Again, he shed one tear, but that was it. He's just happy to be beyond this hole that he was stuck in. As he wakes up and Momo's on his chest, sleeping, and he's like, "God freaking, I guess it's just going to be happening." As he just like slowly gets out of the bed, making sure to not wake her up. As I don't know, he just doesn't want to. He doesn't know why he doesn't, but he just does. I guess he's starting to have feelings for her, feeling like maybe I should respect her as a human being. Yeah, that sort of thing. As he makes his way to the diner, right down the road, all of his old friends, the diner inmates. Oh, it's only been 2 years. How it's so crazy. The shack had run down. The whole community had been run down. As he walks back home after that weird circumstances of finding everybody, it made him feel old. I mean, he's only 15. Or 14. I think. 13. Shit, he's 13? Oh, I almost forgot. As he's like, it feels like I've been aging 5 years every year. I mean, so much. So long. I feel almost 20. As, he returns home, and right as he walks up the right up the walkway. All he hears is as there's a guy standing in front of their thing saying, "You get the money today or the money tomorrow. I don't care, as long as it's double." As then he can sense his mother's fear to come outside. This guy is clearly bad news. As he walks up behind him, looming behind him, his shadow drops onto the guy's bald head, stopping the sun from reflecting off of it. As he says, "And who would you?" As he turns around, Deku's standing at 7'3". The guy's like, "Ah, fuck." As then the guy's like, "So, what's the problem here?" As, he cracks his knuckles, just a little bit. The guy's like, "Well, this woman, owes me a bit of money." He says, "How much?" As then he starts to reach into his back pocket, and the guy's like, "Nothing that's easily dealt with pocket change." As he pulls out about $1,000,000 out of his pocket, $1 million buck that was stolen by his gangsters from the local local business and a bank. He's like, "Would this cover it?" As then the guy's like, he notices it. I mean, he's a criminal himself, and he notices it and looks up to him, and is like, is scared to take it because he doesn't know if he's going to be hunted down because of it. He's like, "Just leave me alone, man." As then he dashes out, and he's like, "Well, that was weird." As then he looks back up to see his mother in the doorway, kind of like holding her hand to her heart, as his father comes out saying, "Is that asshole back again?" As then Deku's like, "Whoa, that's kind of mean." I wouldn't consider myself an asshole. As he's like, "Oh no, never mind, son. Did you take care of him? I paid him off." My God, you made it good in the underground? As then he's like, "That's a whole nother thing. I was actually gonna go to the high school just down the road." As then they're like, "Oh, that's great. We would love to meet some more of your classmates." Actually, Momo's one of the classmates. That's incredible. So you've got friends now. You've got a life. We had thought that you died in one of those underground fights. We had heard of you down below. We were so scared, so afraid." As he says, "You don't have to worry anymore, okay? I'm here." As then it just hits him that the underground might not be safe without him, but he sheds the mind as he's like, "No, I must not." As he starts to walk along his way to the school path, as they give him his school clothes that like barely even fit him, like he's struggling to put it on after all his body just matured in like 2 years, like he'd been aging 20. So like, his old school clothes are so tight on him that you can basically see his skin through them. But they're like latex and stuff, so they're fine. But it's like normal school stuff, right? So he has that middle school vibe, clothes on, like the shorts, and the polo shirt. And then like they gave him a backpack that doesn't even like fit around his arms. Like his shoulders are literally too big for the things. As he's like, "Thanks. I don't know if I need books here, but yeah, okay." As they're like, "Bye." As then the bus comes, he's like, "No." As then he just calls up a freaking a taxi, which is just the Beastmaster inside of it, and he's like, "Beep beep, the Puma's here." As then it's just a freaking Lamborghini. He's like, "Why do you call it a Puma?" He's like, "Because it's a beast." He's like, "Oh my God, you're an idiot." As then, Momo's there. She's like, "I'm allowed to sit in that?" He's like, "Yeah, but it's only 2-seater." God damn it, you're such an idiot. Beastmaster, just bring back a four seat. As he's like, "No, this is the only thing that we have." As he's like, Really? Alright, you're just gonna have to sit on my lap." And she's like, "Sit on your what?" And she's like, "Don't sexualize it, just Just do it, alright? We just gotta get to school. As then she... right as she sits on his lap, he's like, nope, I can't do this. As she like barely even she's like, I didn't even start. As he's like, okay, never mind. I gotta get you to school. It's my duty. As he's like, just get in my hands. As she's like, get in your hands? Well, thank you. As she jumps onto him, he pivots his hand under her legs, sweeping her, and then carrying her like kind of like a baby. As he jumps up into the air and then jumps off of the house at an angle that he gets so far up in the air that he can see the different skyscrapers and sees UA just far enough. As he activates his sort of cybernetic eye that's inside of his right, or left, I think it was. His left had been replaced with a cybernetic eye that had been blown out before, but it had been replaced by the Death Seeker, that guy, the Death Merchant. As then he expresses all of his energy behind him, bursting him across the air, using a lot of his energy. However, he's arcing into the classroom way too fast, and he tries to like stop himself by dragging his hand along the building, but that barely does anything except just destroy shit. As then he smashes down into the middle of the metro. After all, he had been shot off course onto the metro, and had smashed into the side, but carried Momo like around him. And he's like, God damn it, the trajectory was off. As then she's like, it's fine, like this bus is going to UA anyways. He's like, the luck? My God. As he's like, not bad, totally planned. And she's like, yes, totally planned. As he's like, shut up. As they look towards UA. However, she's like, you can let me down now. And he's like, oh yeah, that's right. But before he does that, two heroes come up saying, it's a villain, taking out, different equipments and stuff. And he's like, what? And they're all like, that must be the Underground King. Yes, his eyes blowing out, half of his face, but I thought he was dead. He must not be. After all, that mouth is so recognizable. How could it not be him? It's him from the grave. Let go of the hostage. Like the whole thing goes on shutdown, and he's like, at this point, the bus won't continue. So he's just like, okay, how do I prove that I'm not a villain? They're all like, shut up, villain. Just be cuffed. As everybody is there just like staring at him. He's like, oh god damn it, I can't start the first day like this. I'll never get to school. As then she's like, I can prove it. As they're all like, the hostage? As then she says, as then she just like puts her hand on his cheek, and he's like, oh fuck. He's like, no. As then she drags his face into her so that she can kiss him on the lips, and then like holds it for a few seconds as he's like, he like tries to bite her lip or some shit, and then she like pulls away. She's like, does that prove it? As then she's like in pure bliss right now, while he's like, oh my god, I think I'm gonna. She's like, oh come on, I'm not that bad. I for a fact know I'm good. As all the heroes are like, maybe he has a love quirk. I don't think the Underground King has a love quirk. As they're like, fine, we'll trust you for now. As then they all start watching, start watching The View basically, but also just keeping their eyes on him. As then he's like, at least that solves that. As then the train continues on going. The signal of death roams above him, watching that happen. This harbinger, this messenger of death that had once touched his soul and now left. But some of it stayed around. Some of it roamed him. It caused bad accidents, caused bad luck, the wind to shift, for all the people on the bus to think that he's a villain, for everybody to recognize him, for everything to go wrong. It was unnatural. It was death touching his soul. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all guys in the next video, because I have quite high hopes for the next part. I hope that all of you watch this, because I love it. I gotta be honest, I love it so much. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.